Best of This is our best of year. We look forward to this all year long, hoping to amass a number of pictures which will be shown. And looks like we have a pretty good turnout tonight. And good luck all.
Thank you.
Okay, Rich, I'm going to share the screen here. Can everybody see it okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. We're going to start with group one. And like I meant, hold on. Let me get best of year group one. And we're going to I gotta try to get rid of this. Do you all see what's coming up here? Because I'm having a problem getting rid of it.
Yeah.
What are we
You
looking
okay?
at?
What's
We
that?
see Stonebridge Photography Club open best of year one.
Okay, because I'm getting a pop-up. You don't see it?
No, looks good.
All right, great. Then let's start here. To the falls.
Is there a way I could see a run through of all these images before I do
Yeah,
the in and
I'll
out?
just tap through it, okay?
All right, that's perfect.
Okay,
All righty.
to the falls.
In.
Venetian church.
Out.
Edibles.
In.
Keep smiling.
In.
Seeking Robert Frost before snowfall season.
Out.
Maori warrior in training.
In.
9/11 memorial.
Out.
Back to the wind.
In.
Pink rose.
In.
Norway.
In.
Scary.
In.
First hydrangea leaf to reach the sun.
Out.
Boots.
In.
Into the woods.
In.
Molting Galapagos penguin.
In.
Path in the snow.
Out.
Nice.
St. Petersburg.
In.
They grow.
In.
Lucy in the sky with petals.
Love the title. In.
Above the clouds.
Out.
Waiting to relax.
In.
Iguana smile.
In.
Veggie snacks.
Out,
going together,
out,
lost in thought,
in,
Oak Creek Canyon Meadow,
out,
where I've been,
out,
roast pork,
out,
for spacious skies,
out,
my Banny,
in,
craftsman at work,
in,
some fruit,
in,
Chevrolet,
out,
guarding the path to the beach,
out,
5782, year of time,
out,
snow falls on the last branch of leaves,
out,
peace and quiet,
in,
dandelion,
in,
Cowboy Johnny,
out,
focus,
in,
vertical abstract,
in,
new sneakers,
in,
his story,
out,
hummingbird moth,
out.
hold on a second, I just have to admit somebody.
Okay, well, yeah, but while you're doing that, I apologize in advance for all these, everyone that's out. It always rips my heart out that I can't say something about it, but anyway, so this one will be in,
Okay, peaceful church,
in,
moon over,
in,
decrepit barn repair supports decrepit wheels,
You gotta say that 5 times fast to
Yeah.
get a score. In,
rainy day,
in,
Eldridge Synagogue,
out,
how I don't give a damn looks,
too bad, out,
summer soon.
in,
What'd you say?
in,
Okay, Gina and Ray,
in,
renovations,
out.
seeking Robert Frost,
We had that already.
Yeah, I thought that was in there already.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's out.
resting.
Out.
Okay. Let's see if I can get rid of this. Got this issue here. All right, round 2. We're down to 32 in round 2. So this will be 7, 8, or 9.
Got it.
To the falls.
I like this image. It's, even though there's sort of a time of day issue going on here, you really have a very beautiful composition. And I love the way the kind of the river just sort of works your way up to the waterfall up at the top. The thing I would like to see a bit more contrast in this, and I think a bit more saturation would be good. And I think with a little more post-processing, you could pull some of the detail out in the water, particularly in the cascades that are at the bottom of the image. And it also would be good to darken that rock that's right there in the foreground. That's really white. It tends to be a little bit of a distraction, but all in all, it's a composition that caught my eye. Give it a 7.
Edibles.
No, when I first saw it, when I was going through the run through, I had it as an out, but when I went through the second time, I'm like, this is a very, very simple still life. It's not a lot of elaborateness to it, but the simplicity is really very, very nice. I mean, the choice of colors, I love the fact that the bananas are not quite yellow. And I like the combination of avocado and the oranges, and the very, very simple plate and a very simple background. Really, really nicely handled. There's not a lot of blown out highlights. There's not a lot of deep shadows that don't have detail. So nicely done. I'll give this one an 8.
Keep smiling.
This one like caught my eye. I'm not, yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but it's just like such an interesting guy. The only real critique I can make of this image is that at least on my monitor, the face looks very red. Like there's maybe just a little bit too much saturation going on, and that has a tendency to sort of affect that. I think this actually would work probably even better as either a muted color photo or even a black and white. I'll give this a 7.
Maori warrior in training.
Somewhere someone's gonna have to explain to me what that's all about. All I see here is this like this really nice little slice of life with this kid, sticking her tongue out and it's all blue. And I think it's nicely done. I like the way you have it framed where you really don't see her whole head. I mean, you really basically got this wonderful triangle of the tongue and her 2 eyes. And, she's not looking at the camera, which is kind of cool. And then you've got, the nose in the center, which is actually a reverse of the triangle that are created by the eyes and the mouth. So, and then you add those little freckles and that's just like, I mean, that's the heart melter. So I'll give this an 8.
Back to the wind.
Nice image. I mean, it's herons are just so amazing looking birds. And I like the fact that, even though the birds just sort of perch there, there's something going on with the wind. And I like how those like plumes there in the front, I guess that's what they're called, the way they're kind of waving in the wind and they're kind of blurry, but yet the bird itself is very sharp. So it really indicates, that there's something going on there that's more than just a bird standing there. And and again, here's another image that has a time of day issue. It is what it is, right? When you see these things, you take a picture, but you handle the light very well. The only suggestion I could make in an image like this would be possibly crop a little bit off of the top. You've got a little bit of the ocean in the background there or whatever that is. It tends to be a little distracting. My eye wants to go there and it really wants to stay with the bird. So either crop that out or even darken that a little bit, I think would make this even a better image. Give it an 8.
Pink rose.
Nice floral shot. I like that you're very, very selective on the focus here. And, not just the background, which is out of focus, which you want on an image like this, but even part of the rose itself is out of focus. And I think that was a very good decision because it draws your eye to the pattern created by the edge of those petals. And so to me, it's not really a picture of a rose, but it's more just to me as an abstract kind of floral image. And I like this a lot, very much so. Yeah, not much I can say to make it a little better other than, maybe a little more saturation, but I'm not sure even if that would affect this too much. Maybe darken where it's white in the background, maybe darken that a little bit, might be helpful. But, all in all, nicely conceived image. Give this an 8.
Norway.
Another nice landscape image. You've got great light with the mist and the fog and the haze and all that stuff. Really nice scene with the valley below and then the mountain up above, that kind of crazy mountain that doesn't even look natural. It looks like somebody built it. And it's really, it's nice. The only, again, suggestion here would be that mountain is really close to the top. And this is an image where if this is a full frame of the camera, you could easily add more sky above that in Photoshop, just because you've got sort of a blank sky. And I wouldn't go a lot, just a little tiny bit. So the top of that mountain is not buttoned up against the edge of your frame. Give this a 7. A little more contrast in this would help too.
Scary.
I like this. I normally don't go for images like this, and I never judge based on, my personal feeling. But I really like this. On top of the fact that it's a really good image. Technically, it's really well done. I love the concept here. I love the fact that it's all black and white, and that pattern is just so awesome. It really goes with the doll, the side view of the doll, and the fact that the hand is coming out like that. It's just one of these like just amazing images that you can't stop looking at. I'll give this a 9.
Boots.
I like this. It's a little bit on the busy side, but then again, I mean, I kind of see why, because these boots are weird. But that's what kind of attracted my attention. I love all the color and everything. Um, it's it's a really neat shot. When I look at it in terms of a competition image, though, you know, I have to look at it not just that, wow, this is a cool image to look at, but when I look at you know, there's a lot going on and my eye doesn't really know where to go in this image. So I'm wondering if maybe, you know, if you had the ability to move these things around, if you could have isolated just a few of them, or so on, or, you know, like put them in an area where it's like kind of maybe dark background around them or something like that, in which case it would create more of a visual flow. But yeah, definitely an interesting image, and I can see why this caught your eye. I'd love to see these things for real. Give this a 7.
Excuse me, Into the Woods.
Interesting shot. You know, again, I have to applaud you for doing something a little different with this image. I mean, overall, I would imagine that the original image before it was manipulated is actually probably a really good photograph, which is really when you do this stuff, you never do this stuff to save a photograph. You do this stuff to make a photograph better or make it your own vision. You know, and I kind of like that. It has sort of a stained glass look with the way you sort of have everything pieced together and so on. It's just with this, the one thing that is a little troubling to me is the fact that everything looks like that except the 2 triangular areas on the either side of the railing. They tend to look more realistic to me, and they kind of almost divide the image into, is this, you know, this abstract artsy image of this view, or is it a landscape that somebody manipulated? So I suggest, you know, reworking this a little bit more, and you know, and I think it might just even get even better. And I like the fact that it's really only like 2 tones of color, which is kind of a really cool idea. I'll give this a 7.
Molting Galapagos pigeon.
This is, I mean, this bird just thought it was a really cool bird, and I'm not sure what you did with this image, but you really pulled this bird out of the background, and it looks like it's colored to sort of blend into the background. So it's really I don't know if it was just there was more light on it, or whether you darkened the background a little bit. Whatever it is, you did a good job of of isolating this bird. And you know, the only real issue I have with this image is you've got a time of day with a really dark shadow. There's a little bit in the Bronx, but even the shadow of the bird itself is there. But I know you go here, you're on a tour. You can't just like go to the Galapagos anytime you want and wander around. So you're kind of stuck with what you got. But you caught a really nice image of a bird doing a very interesting thing. You know, just the way it's got its head up and looking like that. It's just really a neat little shot. I'll give this an 8.
St. Petersburg.
I like this because I like the sky, and I like the symmetry of this. It's almost perfectly symmetrical, but it's not exactly, because you're kind of at an angle, but yet you have those 2 kind of pavilions on the right and the left, you know, right where that waterway starts and that kind of pond area stops. You know, they're perfectly symmetrical, but yet everything else isn't. So there's this kind of it's playing tricks with my eyes, but in a very, very nice way. And what you really got also is a really nice sky back there, which is really kind of helps the flow of the image. The layering of this image is just really, really nice. Give this an 8.
They Grow.
Neat abstract done with floral. I like this a lot. It has a definite painterly look to it. Hang on, let me just do something here. I keep switching the size of these images because it's easy to see. I look at this on a really big monitor, and sometimes images look out of focus when they're not. So I'd like go back and forth between a 50% view and a 100% view. Anyway, nice kind of abstract image. I love the coloring of this. It's really nicely done. I do kind of think it could be just a tiny bit sharper. Just and it's not that it's out of focus. It's just I think some of the detail that you did to this, I think, would be more beneficial if it was just a bit more sharper. And I'm thinking of those vertical lines, the orange lines and the kind of yellow and green up at the top. If they're a little bit sharper, I think it would really make this image more impactful. But it is a very, very nicely done photograph. Give this a 7.
Lucy in the sky with petals.
Um, I give it. I'm going to give this a 9, but I would give it a 9 for the title. But really neat, neatly done, neatly conceived image, and nicely put together. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Photoshop work that went on with this, but it's just a nice concept with this. I gave it a 9. I won't go back on that because the concept's really good. I mean, but just to improve it, maybe is you're losing some of the detail on the petals up at the top, and it probably would be nice if they were still there and you could fix that with masking. But I mean, in all reality, this image is so impactful that you sometimes have to look past what you might deem a technical defect and what the maker might have deemed as like that's the way they wanted it. But I just really just I just love the concept here, and I love the coloring. I just love everything about the way this is done. So yeah, definitely a 9.
Waiting to relax.
I like this image a lot. I mean, it's just a really simple image that tells a very nice story. And done as a black and white, it really has that kind of timeless quality to it. And plus the style of the chairs, they look like those chairs that I remember my parents' lawn furniture in the 50s and the 60s kind of look like that. But yeah, it's still that kind of stuff's still available today. Yeah, nicely done. I think maybe repositioning the chairs a little bit might have been good so that that bicycle wasn't in the background. And also this image would look much better with a bit more
Yeah.
contrast to it. Yeah, and anybody who is not muted, can you please mute yourself? Because I'm finding it very distracting, to hear that noise in the background. So anyway, but nicely conceived image. Give this a 7.
Iguana smile.
I like this. I mean, iguanas are really cool looking creatures. I mean, I love that kind of baggy skin that they have and those spikes and their kind of weird face. And yeah, when they look at you, they look like they're actually smiling. And nicely, it's a nicely done image. I like the way the background is really bright and the iguana is nicely, kind of, there's a lot of good detail in the iguana and everything. The only thing I would like is maybe if the shot was just a little bit lower angle and we could have seen more of the eye, but you still have enough of it where you kind of see, I mean, whenever you look at the eye of an animal, you kind of see its, kind of its personality. And so there's enough of it there. And the highlight in it, particularly the one on the right, is just really nice. Give this an 8.
Lost in thought.
I like this. It's kind of this lens baby look or a zoom, maybe it's a composite with a zoom image. And and then, you just made the guy look, the sharp and then everything. But, however you did, I don't really care. It's just a really nice image, really nice concept. The only thing is he's a bit soft. It'd be nice if he was sharper, and it would also be good. We see him, we see his body. I love the motion of that. But I really kind of miss the fact that his face, we can't really see his face. And it'd be neat if you kind of waited to do the shot when he looked up. Sometimes when I do things like that, I'll make a noise or something like that and then pick something up and, that people will look up at you and then you can click the shutter and then ask them if it was okay to do that. But anyway, I'll give this a 7.
My Banny.
Hang on one sec. Yeah, okay. I like this. This has this sort of what's it? There was an artist back in the 30s, I think. I think her name was Betsy Peasy, who did these um, high key paintings of babies underneath blankets like this, and they were used in advertising and so on. And I really love this a lot. And I'm not a cat person, but this is just a really nicely done image. Everything about it is really soft muted and high key, but yet the eyes are just like it just that everything you've done just pulls you right into those eyes. And and the stare of the cat is just really, really just a wonderful image. I give this a 9.
Craftsman at work.
Yeah, a great image of that. What I would have done in this image is I would have probably gotten a little bit lower. I mean, what I like about this is you can kind of see what he's doing. Um, Although it's kind of weird. It looks like that's a painted surface and he's chiseling it. So I don't know if this was a pose shot or what, but I would have gotten a little lower so I could see his face. I would love to see his eyes and really get that feeling of concentration. And also, if you were controlling the scene at all, and even if you weren't, I would have asked him if he could move, say, hey, can I take your picture? And of course, he probably, that's why he's there. And then I would ask him to move the sunglasses because it's like this got this really old timey feel, but yet you've got these like modern sunglasses sitting on the table. So I would have asked him to remove that. Give this a 7.
Some fruit.
This looks like the same image that was before that is just done in a different way. And I mean, I like the concept of it, but I don't think it works. I don't know if it's the same photo. I don't think it works as well as the more natural one because some fruit and now all of a sudden everything's got a really unnatural color to it. And whereas like it's like the oranges, it's like, what are those things? Are they big giant cranberries? I mean, because that's kind of what they look like and everything. So it's kind of to me it's a little more confusing of an image, but I mean it's a nice concept. And I like what you've done with it, but and I think if you use this effect but maybe fool with the coloring a little bit more, I think I think you could really make something of this, and it would kind of be neat if you can make it so that it kind of matches the other one, so that you can almost like use them as a diptych, which like this is the digital one and this is the more natural one. Give this a 7.
Peace and quiet.
I like the view of this. It's it's kind of neat the way you're sort of looking through this doorway and then looking out on this beachscape, and it's very quiet. There's not a lot of people, a few people walking on the beach, so it has that kind of nice quiet feel to it. You got a great sky up there that is just really, it's just it's not overly dramatic, and it's not just a plain blue sky. The only thing with this, I wish that your time of day was a little different, where your shadows are kind of cutting diagonally across, at least the one on the right's cutting diagonally across the scene. It kind of fools with the symmetry of that vanishing point where you're going along that wood floor to the bench and then along the beach, off into the horizon and into the clouds. But that one shadow is kind of like, I want to start my journey and that shadow is kind of holding me back. So either lighten that shadow or go back and do this image when the shadows line up or the sun is behind the clouds, so that you don't have as much shadow detail in there. Give this a 7.
Excuse me, Mark, can you mute everybody? Because
I have to get out of here to mute it. Let's finish this
Okay.
round and then I'll mute everybody.
Okay, this is a very interesting effect. Another nice. I mean, you guys, a lot of these images are definitely different. And this, I don't know whether you did this in post-processing or you did this by spinning the camera. It almost looks a little too perfect to be an in-camera one. And again, I don't really care how you do it. I just care that I like it. And and then by liking it, I mean like personal taste. I mean, as an image, it's a really, really nice image. In this, I think a little bit more contrast, particularly with those little whatever they are, stamens, whatever they are that stick up out of the flower. If they were a little more contrasty, I think that effect would be even better, kind of like a pinwheel effect would be stronger. And the other thing I would do with an image like this is in the upper right-hand corner, it's all black. I would go in and Photoshop with the cloning tool or healing tool or whatever you want to use and kind of add a little bit of the yellow and green color in there to kind of make this, to me, it's like kind of like this sort of void area, but nicely done. Yeah, and definitely nicely conceived. Give this an 8.
Focus.
Neat shot. I mean, this is kind of one of those images that a lot of people take with the American flag on top of the bridge like this, and this is the walkway, but it's a great image. And even though you've seen it many times, this is a very, very nice version of it. Great concept to make it black and white. Every now and then you see something and it just has a timelessness to it, even though you count the stars on the flag and, and everything, but just it not being in color, I think, adds to this image quite a bit. And the black and white work is really, really nice. I mean, it's really the tonality and the texture of it is just a really, really nicely done photograph. Give this an 8.
Vertical abstract.
This is, and again, you guys have a lot of abstracts, and I tend, I tend to get concerned when I see abstracts because there's usually, it takes a lot of skill to do them right, I think, and so on. And having grown up with a mother who owned an art gallery who really basically loved to have a lot of abstracts, I got schooled at a very young age at what makes a good abstract. But this one is just really nice. The symmetry is absolutely perfect on that. The patterns are just really neat. Again, I don't know what this original image was. I mean, it's like an image that's been been turned and then put together to create the symmetry. But it's really cool and a nice image to look at. I mean, the composition, the color, everything is really neat. This would be kind of image I kind of would love to see this as a diptych where you have it this way and then turn it also on its side 90 degrees and then have them together. I think it would like really be kind of this, it would really blow your mind even more so than this one does. Give this a 9.
New sneakers.
I really like this image. And, there was a woman in my camera club that kind of did this. She has a sneaker collection and she loves having these things. And it was a picture of her in a hammock and all it was the hammock and her sneakers. And I thought that was like such a really cool idea for a photo. And so this kind of is that same concept, which is, it's all about the sneakers, but the sneakers are being worn and you see the bottom of the jeans and so on. So it's just really a cool image. I love the way you process this thing. It has that kind of sepia effect. So it kind of waters down the impact of what these zebra skin, I'm sure it's not real zebra skin, but it looks like a zebra print on this. And I think it's a neat concept. I think you did very well with it. I even like the, I normally don't tend to go with that lighter color vignette, but I think in this case, it really works very well. I'm going to give this one a 9. Well, very simple, but well conceived.
Peaceful.
Nice scene. I mean, when I first saw this, I was really attracted to the clouds. I mean, I just think those are just absolutely stunningly beautiful clouds. But other than that, though, this is I mean, the scene, there's just a little bit cut out of the fence. I mean, on the left, the one fence pole is like, we don't see the bottom of it. We don't see the bottom of the rail there. And the trees sort of kind of all the way over to the left like that. And I think this image at a different angle would be really, really strong. But with this, it's just, you've got a great sky and I just kind of wish it was a little bit different angle with it. But all in all, though, I mean, there's some nice stuff in the scene. I mean, the water, the kind of winter plants and everything. It has sort of a stark look, but with that pretty sky. It's very nice. Give this 7.
Church.
Neat shot. I mean, again, very symmetrical, nicely handled. I like, I like this a lot, although you can kind of see even in this image that the original, there's like a shadow going across the left part of that one, gosh, my architectural terms are leaving me. But it's like where it says auditorium, you see where it says audit, it's kind of in shadow. I think when you're playing with something like this, it would have been worth it to kind of work that out of the image in your post-processing. But it's neat. It's got neat colors, it's got neat symmetry and so on, and it works. Yeah, it works very well. And what would be just a nice picture of a church, it becomes kind of a neat little piece of art. Give this an 8.
Moon over.
Neat shot. It's I'm sorry, I'm just hearing that distraction in the background. I like this a lot. I mean, I think this is really well conceived. It has sort of, I want to say, an MC Escher effect, but not really, because most of his stuff is in black and white. But just I guess just all the little angles and everything are really cool. But as a piece of art, again, it's a manipulated image, but as it's a really strong piece of art, and you work the coloring really well, and you work the composition really well. Whereas some judges might not like all that negative space, I think it works. It makes this whole thing just balance, and it just looks like this, one of these things you'd see in an art gallery for like $50,000 or something like that. But it's a really, really nice image. I'm going to give this one a 9.
Decrepit barn, rear supports decrepit wheels.
Neat. I like, I mean, the title. I mean, God, I'm surprised Photo Contest Pro would actually take a title that long. I like and I picked this one, even though to me, it seems like there might be something going on here that is with the cloning, but it's more as an example. But to me, it looks like you were cloning out some kind of distraction around the wheels. The wheels are absolutely gorgeous. The red of the barn wall is really neat, and that all really works well together with the grass. But when I look at this, hang on, let me just make it a little tiny bit bigger. When I look at this, I see what looks like weird cloning effects in the grass. Like there's that thing that almost in the lower right-hand corner looks like it's one thing that's been repeated many times, and there's just too much repeat pattern in the grass itself. So I think if you did this image and that's what you did do it, I would revisit that and try to get rid of some of whatever that distraction was with cropping more so than with the cloning tool, or go back and really, really work it. I mean, now with the latest versions of Photoshop, you can do a lot of stuff with, content aware fill and the healing tool that really does like amazing stuff that they're using artificial intelligence. Give us a 7.
Rainy day.
Another simple, really nice image. I like this a lot. It's just, compositionally, it's neat the way you have it, not quite, it's obviously it's in the center in one way, but horizontally it's not. And as a result, it really creates a lot of drama with this. And it's, it's just a car handle, but, car door handle or some kind of handle. But yet it just works really well in the way you've processed it. Looks like a black and white, but it's not really a black and white. Really, really nicely done. The only thing I could really say about this is maybe, it's just a little too bright up at the top. Maybe just kind of darken that a little bit, but I think, it's just really, really just a nice composition, and it stands very well as is. Give this an 8.
Summer soon.
Kind of a neat, again, you've got this weird pattern going on here. And normally, again, normally it doesn't work, but in this case, it kind of does. Even in the sky, I mean, I tend to like when I preconceive things, and I think like, oh, putting something like that in the sky, just like, yeah, I don't want to do it. But I guess this sort of kind of looks like sort of a funky, weird digital mosaic, maybe. But it works really well. And when you think, this is probably just some simple shed, or something on a boardwalk or something like that, and it's just really, in doing with something like this, it creates a very interesting design, and it's almost not really a shed anymore. It's almost an arrow and and a bunch of diagonal lines, and it's just really very neat. And going with muted colors, I think, is really well. And whereas like normally a halo around something is considered a photographic error, here your halo is it adds more color. It adds a blue, which is really nice with that. So again, well conceived, nicely done. Give this an 8.
Gina and Ray.
I like this a lot, and when I saw it in the run through, I really liked it. And normally it's like when generally when you see a picture image of a person, and then it's like digitally manipulated to the extreme, it normally doesn't work because it takes the humanity out of the image. But yet you manage to keep it here, and it works really well. And I think it's what it is the expressions is what really makes this. And I mean, the older woman is talking, and they're looking down at something, and the younger woman on the right with the hairband, she just has this like just such a wonderful look on her face. And and I like that. And the way you did it, it almost makes the image look more human because of the way you did this. And I like that. And and I also like in the background, I mean, I'm vacillating back and forth that kind of triangular shape, whether that should have been removed or not. But the more I look at it, the more I think it was kind of a good decision to leave it there. It's kind of almost like it's in a way it could be a distraction, but to me it almost joins these two people closer together. And so I think it's again neatly done, well handled. I give this a 9.
Okay, what we're gonna do now is we have 7 9. So what we're gonna do is pick a first, second, third, and the remainder of them will get honorable mention.
Okay.
Okay. Let me throw this here so you can see them this way too.
Okay. Oh boy. These are all great. So this is really tough. So here's where I'm going with this. The cat is first place. There's just
Okay.
something about that cat. I'm not, and I said, I'm not even a cat person.
Okay.
Second place is the moon. And
hold on, is the what?
The one, second from the right there, the one with the moon in it. That's
Yeah.
that one there, moon over. And then the third place will be the kind of creepy, weird doll. And this is one of those ones, if I judge this one tomorrow, I probably would pick all different ones for first, second, and third. They're all just so great. I mean, they really are. They're just really, really wonderful images.
Okay. Now we're going to review the contest. Best of Year, honorable mention, Lucy in the Sky with Petals, Walter, fantastic Walter. Vertical Option, hey Walter, way to go. New Sneakers, Michelle, really nice. Gina and Ray, Michelle again, wow. Third place, Scary, Flo, beautiful. Second place, Moon, oh, there's Flo again. And first place, Flo.
Whoa, a
Okay,
sweep. Flo, good job.
okay, I'm gonna just stop sharing for a minute.
I actually paid him off, guys.
Work.
No, Flo, you did that all on your own, kid.
Yeah, I
Those
know.
are gorgeous
Now